Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In the glittering yet turbulent world of Los Angeles fashion, where familial ties tear as easily as cheap fabric and loves spark and burn out faster than runway spotlights, a bombshell is about to drop that no one saw coming. Paris Buckingham, the attractive and ambitious young woman who had captivated Thomas Forrester's heart before their engagement ended, has been away from the scene for months. Rumors circulated that she had returned to her foreign endeavors or even licked her wounds following the breakup, but now, at this holiday season of renewed vows and fresh begins, Paris has returned, and she is not alone. She's expecting a child, and the father is none other than Liam Spencer, the constant waffler whose heart has swung between Hope Logan and Steffy Forrester for years. It all started innocently enough, or so Liam will claim when the truth is revealed. Months ago, during one of those turbulent occasions when Liam's marriage to Hope was on the rocks once more, fueled by his residual love for Steffy and the never-ending drama around their shared daughter Kelly, he found himself vulnerable. Hope had been withdrawing, concentrating on her line at Forrester Creations and co-parenting Beth, while Steffy was dealing with her own marital issues with Finn. Liam, ever the emotional sponge, found comfort in unexpected places. Paris, who had recently split from Thomas and was in Los Angeles for a quick Forrester consultation, met him at a charity event hosted by the Spencer family. The evening was intended to be a professional networking event, complete with champagne flutes and flashing cameras. Paris, with her poised manner and acute mind, had always captivated Liam from a distance. She represented something both stable and fascinating, unaffected by the Forrester-Logan-Spencer triangle that had characterized his life. They talked for hours about ambition, grief, and the challenges of living in the shadow of great families. Liam discussed his anxieties of losing Hope again, his guilt over dividing his time between his kids, and the exhaustion of always being the good guy who ends up hurting everyone. Paris listened, sharing her own experiences with rejection and perseverance when Thomas prioritized his obsessions over their future. In true soap opera tradition, one thing led to another. A few too many drinks, a quiet spot away from prying eyes, and a moment of weakness that neither planned to pursue further. It was a one-night blunder, they both admitted the next morning, embarrassing and full of regret. Paris went for Europe soon after, wanting to put it behind her and concentrate on her work. Liam put himself back into reconciling with Hope, culminating in their recent spectacular wedding, which had everyone of Los Angeles abuzz. Vows were renewed, families celebrated forever, and for a little moment, it appeared that Liam and Hope had finally overcome the odds. But life in our world is rarely so straightforward. Paris found out she was pregnant weeks later, alone in a distant place, staring at a positive test with shock. She pondered doing it on her own, raising the child away from the drama of the Forrestos and Spencers. She's tough, resourceful, and possesses the Buckingham grit. But as the months passed and her belly began to protrude, reality sank in. This child deserved to know his father, and Liam, despite his imperfections, is a loving father to Kelly and Beth. Keeping the secret would just lead to greater animosity and issues down the line. So Paris schedules a flight back to Los Angeles, arriving just after the holiday rush, when the newlyweds are basking in their honeymoon glow. She rehearses the discussion 1,000 times. Calm, direct, and without accusations. Liam, we need to talk. That night, it meant nothing to either of us, but there's a consequence. I'm pregnant, and it's yours. She imagines his disbelief, the color draining from his face, the inevitable questions about paternity testing, and how this could happen. In the meantime, Liam appears to be having the time of his life. He's devoted to making marriage work after marrying Hope for what feels like the umpteenth time, but hopefully the last. They've talked about expanding their family, possibly giving Beth a brother, and even contemplating extra custody time with Douglas now that Thomas is back in town, causing trouble at Forrester. Hope's line is booming again thanks to the piece with Steffy, and Liam's job at Spencer Publications keeps him busy, but satisfied. Bill is proud, Wyatt is supportive, and Steffy appears to have embraced the new normal for the purpose of co-parenting Kelly. during a casual contact, the news comes as a shock. Paris plans to meet Liam at his office, away from the Forrester estate, where Hope could overhear. Despite her nervousness, she enters looking gorgeous, her palm resting automatically on a slight bump hidden behind a fashionable coat. Liam embraces her warmly at first, shocked yet glad to meet an old friend. Paris, what brings you back to LA? Thomas mentioned you might visit. That's when she reveals the truth. The words spill forth and Liam's world tilts. As he assesses the timing, his disbelief gives way to panic. It all fits perfectly. There is no protection in the heat of the moment and no consideration for the consequences. He walks the room, running his hands through his hair and moaning about how this can't be happening now that everything has finally stabilized. Paris maintains her composure, assuring him that she is not there to disturb his marriage, but that he has the right to know and participate if he wishes. Word spreads quickly in this close-knit community. Hope is the first to notice something is wrong when Liam arrives home late, confused and evasive. She presses him, her intuition sharpened by years of his rambling. He confesses in tears, pleading for understanding and vowing it was a mistake before their reconciliation. Hope's reaction is heartbreaking, a combination of betrayal, wrath, and despair. How many times can a man cheat, even unintentionally? She runs out, seeking solace with Brooke or possibly Deacon, leaving Liam to deal with the aftermath. Steffi finds out what happens next, either by word of mouth or directly from Liam, who is seeking counsel as Kelly's mother. She is astonished, but not surprised. Liam's impulsiveness is notorious. However, this complicates matters. Another child ties him to yet another lady outside their triangle. Steffi, who is protective of her own family with Finn, advises Liam that he must manage it properly or lose everything. Thomas, who has recently returned and is lobbying for his previous work as a designer for Hope for the future, sees an opportunity in the midst of the mayhem. He pretends to have moved on from Paris, but the news still hurts. More crucially, it exposes Hope's vulnerabilities. He consoles her, reminding her of his unshakable dedication and indirectly implying that Liam's tendencies will not alter. Bill Spencer, ever the patriarch, becomes involved after Liam confides in him. Dollar Bill's advice is straightforward. Stand up, provide financial and emotional support for the child, but fight to save the marriage if Liam wishes. Katie, who is currently navigating her own fresh romance with Bill, provides Hope a woman's perspective, drawing parallels to her own history of forgiving. The Forrester mansion becomes a battleground for confrontations. Ridge and Brooke bicker about how to support their daughter, while Eric, still reeling from his forced retirement, offers insightful but weary advice. Steffi and Hope argue over business issues, shattering the fragile ceasefire and reopening emotional wounds. Paris, thrown into the spotlight, suffers criticism from all directions. Grace Buckingham, her mother, may arrive to defend her, battling with the Spencers. Zend, who once had a crush on Paris, experiences a moment of regret. But Paris is adamant. This kid is a blessing, and she will raise it with or without Liam's full participation. As paternity is confirmed, because, of course, there is a test, the reality sets in. Liam now has 3 children from 3 separate women, Kelly and Steffi, Beth and Hope, and this new baby with Paris. The logistics of co-parenting are a headache, but the emotional toll is even harder. Hope files for separation, unable to forgive this time, paving the way for Thomas's pursuit. Steffi pulls back, concentrating on Finn, Hayes, and Phoebe. Liam, alienated and guilty, pledges to be present for his new child, possibly bonding with Paris in unexpected ways as they negotiate prenatal checkups and newborn preparations. However, in Soapland, nothing is permanent. Months later, forgiveness may bloom, or new partnerships may emerge. Paris could find herself permanently drawn into the Forrester fold, with her child serving as either a bridge or a wedge. Liam may battle to reclaim Hope, demonstrating his progress, or embrace a new path. The action takes place in boardrooms and bedrooms, with fashion displays serving as backdrops to heartache and disclosures. This astonishing twist, Paris' return with Liam's baby shatters the fragile peace, reminding everyone that secrets never stay hidden in the bold and beautiful world, and one night can change everything forever. The damage spreads throughout families, friendships, and fortunes, setting the stage for tears, victories, and infinite what-if scenarios. Hope struggles with trust, Liam with guilt, Paris with independence, and the child, innocent in all this, becomes the latest pawn in the never-ending game of love and treachery. The plot begins slowly, with small hints, Paris' cryptic phone calls, Liam's unexplained worry, and strange glances at social gatherings. The confrontation scenes then erupt, with raw, passionate speech echoing across the historic Spencer and Forrester homes. Brooke weeps with hope, Ridge soothes Liam one-on-one, and Bill prepares damage control. Steffi rolls her eyes at Liam's latest mistake, but she is privately concerned about Kelly's stability. Paris' pregnant journey has layers, doctor's appointments, where Liam initially unwillingly accompany her, but then with mounting concern. Ultrasounds show the baby's gender, a boy, possibly a Spencer heir. Naming debates cause friction. Paris wants something powerful and original, whilst Liam recommends family names. Spencer Publications covers the scandal, forcing Wyatt Orwell to manage ethics. Forrester Creations is buzzing with gossip, which affects Hope's line as her focus fades. Redemption's arc. Liam takes Lamaze classes and bonds over baby kicks. Hope watches from a distance, torn. Thomas pushes too hard, revealing an underlying fixation and pushing Hope away. Steffi unexpectedly supports Paris, citing parallels to her own single motherhood journey. Climactic moments include a baby shower interrupted by drama and labor at a large event, such as a fashion showdown. Emotional birth scene. Liam holding his son, tears flowing, Paris exhausted but triumphant. After birth, custody negotiations, and attempts to form a blended family. Hope softens, possibly reconciling for Beth's sake. Or Paris and Liam ignite genuine feelings, and co-parenting becomes romantic. The cycle continues. Jealousy, passion, and forgiveness. This infant, born by mistake, forces growth or destruction. Unbelievable? In this world, it is just another day. When reports began to surface that Paris Buckingham was back, and not only back, but carrying Liam Spencer's child, it sent shockwaves around Los Angeles. What began as a rumor swiftly spread as familiar faces saw tiny changes in Paris' behavior, guarded expressions, and instinctual protection of her midriff. Even in a town accustomed to scandal, this discovery stunned even the most seasoned watchers, as it rewrote recent history and resurrected emotional wounds that many thought had finally healed. Paris had quietly left months before, telling friends and family she needed time to rediscover herself. After years of being caught up in convoluted relationships and moral quandaries, she stated she desired clarity and freedom. Few people questioned her decision at the time. Paris had always been the sort to internalize grief and walk away rather than cause trouble. However, no one realized that her leaving was motivated by something considerably more profound than soul-searching. She was already pregnant, and the father of her child was permanently linked to one of the most tumultuous love triangles in recent history. Liam Spencer was trying to repair his life after another emotional breakdown involving Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester. Liam was torn between two women for years, carrying the weight of shame, bewilderment, and tiredness. When Paris entered his life at one of his lowest points, it was not supposed to be complicated. She was friendly, sympathetic, and a welcome change from the long-standing rivalries that marked his love past. What began as a moment of vulnerability evolved into something more profound, though both of them were careful to keep it secret, knowing how explosive the truth could be. Their friendship grew through clandestine discussions and unguarded times. Paris saw a side of Liam that few people had, a guy devoid of certainty and longing for tranquility. In turn, Liam took peace in Paris's quiet strength. He wasn't attempting to replace Hope or Steffi. He just wanted to breathe again. One night, emotions ran hot, boundaries were blurred, and a single decision altered everything. It wasn't uncontrolled passion, but it wasn't well planned either. It was human, untidy, and ultimately life-changing. When Paris discovered she was pregnant, panic broke in almost instantly. She understood what this meant not only for her but for everyone connected to Liam. Hope was finally attempting to move forward, Steffi was concentrating on her family, and Liam was fighting to regain control. Bringing a baby into that delicate ecology seemed like releasing a bomb. Paris was left with a decision that no one should have to make alone: stay and tell the truth, or leave and shield everyone from the fallout, at least temporarily. She decided to depart. Paris viewed disappearance as a form of mercy. She assured herself that distance would bring her clarity, and that time would soothe the hurt. Away from Los Angeles, she focused on her pregnancy, balancing fear and hope. She pictured the kind of mother she wanted to be, and debated whether Liam deserved to know right immediately, later, or at all. Despite her best attempts, the truth continued to weigh on her. Every kick, ultrasound, and peaceful moment confirmed the fact that this child linked her to a guy who had no idea he was going to become a father again. Back in Los Angeles, Liam sensed an unresolved issue but couldn't pinpoint it. He reflected on Paris more often than he allowed, wondering if he had unintentionally injured her or if she had simply outgrown the craziness of his life. There were times when he felt a weird tug, an incomprehensible sensation of loss, but dismissed it as leftover remorse. His life was already difficult enough without seeking unanswered questions. Everything changed when Paris returned. Her reappearance was impossible to avoid. Despite her efforts to dress wisely and maintain composure, the truth was written all over her. Those who knew her well saw right away, and curiosity quickly grew to certainty. When the news reached Liam, his first reaction was incredulity. The time, the circumstances, it all seemed unbelievable. But as the pieces fell into place, shock gave way to reality, which led to fear. The argument between Paris and Liam was intense and emotional. There was no theatrical theatrics, just two people dealing with the repercussions of their decisions. Paris did not accuse or blame. She simply said the truth. Liam strained to digest everything, his mind whirling with memories, timelines, and what-if scenarios. He was saddened by the thought of having unknowingly abandoned his child's mother to confront pregnancy alone. For Liam, the revelation unleashed a tsunami of responsibility. He wanted to do the right thing, but what was the right thing in this case? He was still deeply linked to Hope, connected to Steffi through their daughter, and now confronted with the reality of adding another child to a life that was already stretched thin. The usual fear of hurting everyone he loved returned, stronger than before. Meanwhile, Hope Logan noticed the shift even before she realized what was causing it. Liam's distraction, his distant glance, and the heaviness in his words were all too familiar. When the truth finally came out, she felt betrayed, despite the fact that no promises had been broken. Knowing that Liam had built a life with Paris during a moment of emotional ambiguity reignited old fears. It pushed Hope to confront the prospect that she and Liam may never completely break free from the pattern that had defined them for so many years. Steffi Forrester's reaction was more restrained, but as powerful. She realized the gravity of the situation right away, having experienced similar shocks with Liam in the past. Her main concern was how this would impact their daughter and the stability she had worked so hard to establish. While she sympathized with Paris, she was also concerned about the potential consequences of another Spencer kid entering the picture. As word spread, alliances moved and tensions increased. Some regarded Paris as courageous for returning and speaking the truth. Others questioned her motives, wondering if she planned to change Liam's life in ways he had not asked for. Paris remained fairly silent, concentrating on her health and the life developing within her. She realized she had no control over how others reacted, only how she moved forward. Privately, Paris struggled with shame and hope. She never sought to disturb people's lives, but she also refused to apologize for her decision to keep her child. Motherhood had instilled in her a new sense of purpose, one that gave her courage even in the face of condemnation. She was not asking Liam to select her. She merely wanted her children to know their father. Liam's journey became one of self-reflection. For the first time, he was forced to face a trend he couldn't ignore. His hesitation, need for emotional reinforcement, and tendency to seek comfort in the absence of clarity had far-reaching implications. This infant was more than simply another difficulty. It was a wake-up call. As the weeks passed, tough conversations arose. Boundaries were discussed, and expectations were clearly stated. Paris made it plain that she didn't want to be drawn into past rivalries. She desired cooperation, respect, and honesty. Liam, humbled and overwhelmed, committed to help Paris and the baby in whatever way they needed, even if it meant giving up some of his personal comfort. Hope faced her own crossroads. She had to determine if she could remain in a relationship marked by perpetual turmoil or if it was time to let go. Her feelings for Liam were intense, but so was her tiredness. Watching him manage another complicated tie made her wonder if love alone was enough. Steffi, ever pragmatic, was ready for the changes ahead. She focused on preserving her family and urging Liam to accept responsibilities without losing himself. Despite her reservations, she recognized that children were innocent and deserved help, regardless of how they came into the world. Throughout it all, Paris remained at the heart of the storm, carrying not just the infant but also the weight of everyone's expectations. But she also had hope that honesty could lead to healing, that this child could become a bridge rather than a wedge, and that the truth, no matter how terrible, was preferable to silence. As the deadline approached, the truth of the situation became difficult to ignore. Baby showers were contested, hospital arrangements were reviewed, and futures were reassessed. Nothing was guaranteed, except that life in Los Angeles would never be the same. Paris's homecoming brought more than simply surprising news. It forced everyone to face who they were, what they wanted, and how far they were willing to go. In a society marked by passion, rivalry, and tragedy, the unexpected arrival of a newborn meant both turmoil and the prospect of forgiveness. Whether love would survive the consequences remained to be seen, but one thing was certain: the past could no longer be ignored, and the future had arrived sooner than anybody had anticipated.